We are talking about prayer. Our last month, we've been covering every month just the 12 pillars of engaging heaven. I've had the privilege of planting churches for many years, and I felt like it would be a foundational year. Although we are growing and expanding, and more is coming with this other property, I just felt like, man, we're going to build stronger. And there's a reason where you feel real here, and when you sense family, and all these things are, these are value systems of the house, miracles, right? You talk about miracles all morning long. Like, you're not going to come in here and wonder what we believe. We are a people that know how we want to love God with everything we have. We want to take risks and see miracles in this world. So one of the foundational things that we've been talking about is prayer. Prayer is, we've talked about the dangers of prayerlessness. Bible's filled with them. We understand that we can sometimes not have if we're not asking. We understand the importance of that connection. Your connection with God is everything. And when that connection breaks, marriages break. When that connection breaks, life doesn't work out. Are you with me? You have a connection to God that's special. And thank God we're not in some weird, China where we're getting skinned alive for our faith. You have pretty much the freedom to believe what you want to believe, touch heaven, change this earth, and really, live free when it comes to the areas of faith. But I'm going to tell you, I want to talk today about strengthening yourself in the Lord, and kind of take a look at this story of David, which is so powerful, man, and understand, like, there is a moment in everyone's life where it's going to be you. I think there was an old Alvin Slaughter song that he sung, and it said, when answers aren't enough, there's Jesus. Everyone's going to feel at some point like, man, God, what's going on? We like support. We're meant to have the support. We're meant to live with one another, but you will absolutely find yourself in a place where you're like, man, God, I need you. And it seems, I know I'm not alone. It seems like I'm in a place where I need an answer. And this is where we have to understand the power of strengthening ourselves in the Lord. The two how you can abort your faith, the two killers of faith, the two, assassination is a bad word, you get the point. Two things that I think are deadly to your faith is when Christians fall into bitterness and resentment. Oh man, it'll pick you off more than you are. It's amazing to me, actually. Watching people's lives with God get derailed and destroyed because of bitterness and resentment. I've never seen anything like it in my life. Bitterness and resentment, the minute that stuff gets in your heart, it's like a cancer, man. It's hard to get out, bro. You start getting angry at God. You start feeling some kind of way towards a pastor. You start resenting one another. I mean, it was so important on God's heart that he said, forgive people. Right? Or he'd have a hard time forgiving us. That's how important that was. And you got to learn to forgive when the other person doesn't say sorry. You just got to live clean. I think we're going to create a t-shirt that says you're forgiven, but we're really trying to remind ourselves it's not worth it. It's at the end of the day, when you get to heaven and you see Jesus, it ain't going to matter what somebody said about you or took from you, or, you know what I mean? Those things just aren't worth it. So bitterness and resentment, and then jealousy and disappointment. My goodness. I watch these things, when I'm older, it's going to be worse, because I'm just going to be like the old. You think I have no filter now? Wait till I'm old. No, it's over. It's over. Wait till I'm walking this beach at 80. I'm just going to be hitting people. I'm just going to be like, I'm going to be just dude. Come on, man. I'm going to be that cranky old guy that you're like, well, we're going to go see Grandpa, but he could say anything. Like my Uncle Louis, he was an Italian dude born in Italy. Nah, man, dude. He got to a point in his life, it was like all bets are off. I wanted to introduce him to my beautiful fiance. I walked in the house. He's like, Jamie, you're fat. And I was like, bro, can you say hello to my lady first? Like, why are we going right there? So I'm just, he was incredible. I'm just, you don't act like you don't know old people that just say things. And that was him. And sipping orange soda at 100 years old. So it's going to be me, I guess. But I've observed not as much as Uncle Louis, and I was kidding. Some of you were looking at me really strange. This might not be the place for you. Jokes are what we do. I don't know what to tell you. We like smiling and laughing. I can see you all. You know that too, right? I can actually look at Look at your face. It's awkward for me too. I don't know what to tell you. I'm just as weird as you now. The way you're acting towards laughter and joy of the Lord is my strength, though, I'll tell you. But I have observed in just a short time, people get the jealous and the offense and, a thought, the power, the demonic power that a thought can change into a root of bitterness that keeps you out of heaven is crazy. It don't start out that way. Offense is this, Bill Johnson said, offense is the spirit of murder in diapers. It's just so subtle. It feels so good to be offended, especially when you're wrong. And I'm going to tell you, hell is filled with people that have right reason to be offended. It's not about them. It's about you. It's about you not letting people have the power, even though you might have been wronged. You love and you forgive for your sake. You got to move on. The reason the Bible says anger is hidden in the belly of the fool is because when you're sleeping good at night, there might be 100 people raging against you. I'm at peace. You hear what I mean? If your heart's right, it's the most important thing in your life. The Bible says, guard your heart with all diligence. It's your heart that's going to flow the issues of life, the Bible says. And let's just, I want to go to this story in David. 1 Samuel 22:2 starts off and says, essentially, everybody in that time, well, we can turn there. 1 Samuel, we're going to be bouncing around through the Samuel. So 1 Samuel 22:2 says, and everybody that was in distress, everyone who was in debt and people who was discontented gathered to David. He became captain over them, and there was about 400 men with them. It's a pretty incredible story about David. David, it's an amazing story of promotion. When you're dealing with God coming to you, like we're a prophetic culture. That will be one of our months coming up, is the prophetic. We're prophetic people, man. We hear God's voice. We lean in to hear his voice. We believe in revelation and the gifts of spirit. Let me tell you something. We love prophetic culture because God will unlock something in your heart immediately. I feel like God is saying that you're going to be called to the nations and you're going to see these things. And you're like, whoa. And for a moment, something's unlocked inside of you. There's still a warring over the word. There's still a process. David really experienced it. Can you imagine God going, man, you are going to be king, but yet he's not anointed king right away, right? Can you imagine God going, you are going to be king of Israel, and then it doesn't work out right away? And so David was anointed to be king, but he ended up in Saul's house. It was a very difficult thing. And the problem is when David is serving another king, another man, another person over him, it got weird. People started loving David. People started dancing around in Saul's house singing, Saul only kills thousands, but David, my boy, David kills tens of thousands. I don't know if somebody wants to come here and praise another pastor today in this room. Like, that's a little weird. Get out. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? I'm the guy here. He didn't like it. I'm going to tell you what, Saul got ticked. And then it was a problem. And the whole thing is, David was about to be anointed and he was appointed to lead Israel into what they call the golden age. This will be Israel's moment. Even now, you look back like this was the day. And David was the man to take Israel into this golden age. But Saul was ticked. I'm just trying to explain something to you. When God gives you a destiny word, it may not happen as quick as you thought. And the punchline's going to be, what's separating you from promotion is your ability to strengthen yourself in the Lord. That's right. And so what we saw is, instead of Saul cheering and singing the songs, he grabbed a spear and was like, let me just kill this dude. And so David ends up getting spears thrown at him in Saul's house, so he runs. That was not a safe space. And the truth is, now David went from God going, here's what you're going to do, to a dude trying to kill him. So he flees Saul's house. And then he finds himself celebrated everywhere he went. So now he's in a new people group in Israel. And David just a little sore from the last season, ends up praying to God and going, hold on, dude. I know everybody loved me. Everybody loved me at Saul's house too. I just got a question. Are they going to turn on me just like Saul did? The thought to even ask such a question. And you know what the Lord said? Yup, you better get out. So now David's rejected in Saul's house. He's rejected by his own people. God's like, yo, you better get out of there, man. And now David finds himself living with the Philistines. Dang, talk about sleeping with the enemy. This dude now is boys with the devil. And he's now hanging out with the Philistines, and it got weird, man, because remember, David killed their champion, Goliath. And now David's like one of them. Very awkward and odd. And then they loved him so much, they're like, dude, you are amazing. We love you. We're going to go ahead and give you a city. Can you imagine your enemies being so enthroned with you that they give you a city? And they gave David Ziklag. This is going well. I don't know about you. You give me a city, I'm going to think I'm in a good place. They gave him a city, and then it was weird because at night David would go and fight. He would go to war with the enemies of Israel and the Philistines. It was a safe place of battle. He's taking heads. He's the champion, bringing back spoils. They loved David. And at this point, David had, it said about 400. People say it almost goes up to 800 men. Let's say 600 for sake. 600 dudes, and they're a bunch of rejects. They're like, they're not like you, but they're rejects, you know? Like, you ever watch the Rudolph movie, the claymation one? Yeah. Say yes. I can see your age. You know what I'm talking about. Well, then there was like the land of misfit toys where all the broken toys went. I'm not saying that's you, but I told all my other churches that's what we were. I think we're a little more put together here, and that's fine. We got good up here. But I'm going to just tell you, it got so crazy at some other churches, people started buying me the toys from the land of misfit toys. It was so, I mean, it went from like, wow, we are a bunch of misfits, to like, I'm a misfit, to like my whole office is filled with weird elephants and snow guys. And I chucked them. It's not, I don't know. I'm off that. I'm not 20 anymore. It ain't me against the world. I'm getting older, friends, so we're not misfit toys. But maybe a little bit. But that was his band of brothers, a bunch of 600 derelicts. I'm going to tell you right now, these people were jokers, lame at life, losers. And they just got fire, man. They just started like being all about David and championing his cause. And then eventually, Philistines went to fight with Israel. And David was like, because he should be fighting on Israel's team, but he's not anymore. Because God was like, they're about to turn you. So now he's with the Philistines. And now the battle changed where David's marching with the Philistines to fight Israel. Awkward, highly awkward. And in the middle of David trying to fight on the enemy's team, the Philistines go, wait a minute. This dude's going to change his mind and turn on us in battle. They just got scared. So then they turned on him and tried to kill him. So now this is a bunch of rejection going on. The potential king of Israel got kicked out of Saul's house. He got kicked and rejected by his own people in Israel. And you know life is bad when the devil don't even want you. So now the Philistines booted him. And let's just say he's having a bad day. I'm going to tell you something. It was by design, and he is being prepared for leadership and being the king of Israel. Man, we don't have a grid for this. Listen to me. In American Christianity, when you're constantly told God loves you, which he does, and you're constantly told it's always good, and we get this blessed prosperity message, there's no room for difficulty in your life. There's none. We protect ourselves from owies. So when they happen, we're like, what did we do wrong? You didn't do nothing wrong. You're actually being promoted. Why is this going on? It just doesn't fit our mentality. I want God's love more than anybody. I love it. Last week, all we talked about was hope. I'm all about it. Let me tell you something. It's real life out here. And there are times in your life you're going to go through struggles. You're going to face some things. You've already been equipped to overcome. You win the battle. Don't get it twisted, guys. But it's going to be difficult along the way. You're going to have things you don't understand that you got a war over. You're stronger at the end of it, right? This isn't heaven. This is not it yet. What we're believing for is heaven to invade this earth right now as we're here. And so this is what happened. It looked on the outside like he's just not in the right place, but yet he's being prepared. And yet he's right in the potter's hands with rejection. It's crazy, man. With rejection. And then it just got You know, I think that's why Jesus said a prophet is without honor except his own home. Isn't that weird? Wouldn't it be better if like the only place we're accepted is where we're from and we're like, yeah, that works. I don't want nowhere else. Nope. The Lord's like, bro, you're going to have an uphill battle from day one. Get ready. I didn't write it. I didn't make it up. Deal with it. He said a prophet is not without honor except in his own hometown, meaning you're going to probably be more effective other places where people don't know who you are. I often wondered about that. And I just think it's God's plan that we start out with the familiar and the most difficult season up front. You're not getting addicted to applause. You're not getting addicted to the crowds and all the people telling you how amazing you are. You actually got to get married to purpose. For you to do anything great for God, you're going to have to believe in the face of familiar. 100%. You're always, if you really step out and do something for God, there's going to be a group of people that know who you really are, that are going to think that you're crazy. Sometimes it's family, friends. And so the reality is, this is what he had to deal with. And so David's men got very discouraged at this point. Now the Philistines are turning on David, and they had no other, what they figured out they needed to do was to go back home to Ziklag. And this is where we pick it up in 1 Samuel chapter 30. They go back home, and all of a sudden, you got to think, like, home is a safe place, right? We're going back home. We're going to our land. Let's regroup. See, and they're discouraged, man. And then it says they went back to Ziklag, and they saw all of their women and children taken. Their homes were burnt to the ground. And I don't know. I mean, I think we just caught it at a low point now. 1 Samuel 30, you could turn there with me. And it says, verse 1. Now when it happened when David and his men came to Ziklag on the third day that the Amalekites invaded the south and Ziklag, attacked Ziklag, burned it with fire, and had taken captive all the women and those that were there from small to great. They did not kill anyone, but they carried them away and went on their way. So David and his men came to the city, and there it was, burned with fire. Their wives, their sons, their daughters were taken captive. And David and the people that were with him lifted up their voices, and they wept until they had no more power to weep. How many know that's a difficult day, man? And David's two wives, not going to try and not going to try, had been taken captive. Now David was greatly distressed, for the people spoke of stoning him, because all the soul of the people were grieved, every man for his son and daughter. But David, can you imagine? Now the people you thought were with you were trying to turn on you. David strengthened himself in the Lord. It's incredible. And David said to whoever the priest, Amaleki's son, please bring the ephod here to me. They brought the ephod to David. David, in the ephod, was really an instrument to find out God's will. David inquired of the Lord, saying, what should I do? Should I pursue this troop? Should I even overtake them? And the Lord said this, and I'm telling you, this is the word of the Lord for some of you this morning. Pursue, you will surely pursue, overtake, and without fail you will recover all. Amen. Come on. And David went with about 600 men that were with him and came, and then, the rest is history. They conquered one, and God was on the throne. But it was interesting because in 2 Samuel chapter 23, which is a real special chapter, it's very unique other than many of the chapters in the Bible.